I don't know.
I don't know either. Dating while adulting, the greatest podcast ever made. Oh yeah, that's what I call it. I am Michael. That's Reggie. Say hi, Reggie.
Hi, Reggie. That didn't sound too convincing.
Oh, it is the greatest podcast ever made in the history of podcasts. You know there are a million podcasts.
Yeah.
Literally a million.
Unfortunately, they don't compare to ours because guess what? We very real.
Well,
You know,
and
we keep
plus,
it we keep it real, 100.
and plus, it's the greatest podcast ever made. And it's so funny for you to hear you using slang. Look at you talking about keeping it 100.
Yo, man, I'm trying to keep up with the culture. Just saying.
Look at you. I'm so proud. A couple of things I want to mention. One, I want to give a shout out first and foremost. Um, I want to give a shout out to Eva Longoria.
Mm,
And one, because she looks good.
look good.
And she's another one that I stalk on Instagram. She is in her 40s and she is working out like a fiend. And this is the thing I've always respected about Eva Longoria that I don't respect about a lot of women. And this goes to the cheating episode of the podcast that we will have eventually.
Okay.
Eva Longoria got married to Tony Parker.
Yes.
Tony Parker cheated, and she did not even wait a day. She went and filed for divorce expeditiously, to quote T.I. And
Expeditiously.
and it's so interesting to me the way that women view relationships and they feel like they stay with dudes because they feel like they can't do any better. It reminds me of Cardi B when Offset cheated on her the second time, not the first time. And people were like, I can't believe you took him back and all that stuff. And she responded by saying, what y'all want me to do? Who else am I going to date? And even though, as sad as that sounds, that is like the sentiment of a lot of women that stick in relationships just because they believe that there are no men and just because they
Actually, no.
believe.
Actually, I want to unpack that. I want to unpack that because originally I was thinking, okay, I get that the whole sentimental, sad, violent bullshit. But if you actually know yourself and you know the dysfunctions that you have and the course that you have, and you understand how hard it is for you, unless you're going to do revolutionary change, which of course we both know that people really don't do, not a lot, because it's hard as fuck. I'm not saying it's right, but at the same time, you have the alternatives of, okay, I'm gonna be alone because I don't want to deal with this cheating motherfucker over here, or I don't want to be alone. He's an asshole, but he gets me. And I'm not going to, and I'm not going to judge in that aspect of which one's right and wrong. So the Eva Lagorian, I get because she has her standards. She understands what the deal breakers are. I get that. I understand that. I applaud that. Bravo, bravo. But on the Cardi B aspects, taking the low self-esteem women out of the equation, if you have some real crazy courts that you know that a grand majority of the opposite sex will not get unless you change who you are, and the person, I'm not in, it is better for you to be alone. I get that. I understand that. I understand that.
I don't
But
understand what you're getting at.
a lot of people aren't that strong to
I don't,
just, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna be alone.
I don't understand what you're getting at. Make that point again, except more concise.
Some people have a lot of courts that the majority of the opposite sex that they are, the ring that they're in, will not get. So instead of them doing it alone, because it takes a lot of courage for someone to actually stand up to be alone and actually work on themselves. They were ready to just settle, for lack of a better word, for the person that they get, who
So
actually understands it to the point that's not necessarily right for them.
so you're saying that Cardi B has quirks and she would
She thinks
choose.
she may think she has courts that she doesn't think that any other quote unquote normal, healthy guy will be able to deal with. Was she like a exotic dancer and shit like that at one point?
Also known as a stripper, yes.
Okay, I was trying to, you'd be in the Reggie now. Okay. So there's not too many guys, I think, just who are, looking for that healthy relationship that you're talking about, will have the, as Hillary Clinton says, the testicle fortitude, to, the nut fortitude to deal with a stripper. Their egos are too fragile to be, no, they're not going to do that. So she may be thinking That well, this is the only guy I can get who will be able to actually understand and deal with my past. Is she mistaken? More than likely.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with that, especially
Of course you
since
don't.
well, no, I think this is a generational thing with her. We're talking about kids who are in their 20s still, one, and two. When you look at these female rappers or whatever you want to call them these days, a lot of them came from stripping past and environments. I think in her case, I think the issue is that, like many women that stick with guys that disrespect them. And when I say disrespect, it's all about what you consider to be disrespectful. In her case, it would be that he cheated on her um,
Twice. You only got to
twice,
put twice. Got to put twice.
twice, and you left him both times and came back both times. So you see it as disrespect. But I think a lot of these women
Hold
have
up.
been
Pause. Because I'm actually going to disagree on that. Actual, the first time, like I said, that's up in the because you don't know both sides of the story. But if you take him back after cheating on you and he cheats again, that's just blatant disrespect. There's
well,
no what I think it's or what you know. That's just disrespect.
yeah, I think it's all a personal thing. And I don't, first time she left him, she did. So I don't know what other side there needs to be. She felt like she was disrespected, so she left. But the point I was going to make is that, like a lot of women, and she's in her 20s, but women in their 40s and 50s believe this too. They believe that there's such a like dearth of men out here that if you get one, even if it's a bad one, is better than having no one or
And
someone less than that. So you can look at him as, and I would imagine in her case, she would say, I make this money. There aren't men that make this money, because I'm imagining that's what she is equating it to. I need someone who's on my level, to go back to that earlier podcast. And there aren't many guys on her level.
who's
So
going
there,
to accept her past, which is what I
see,
was getting at.
the past thing doesn't matter
It
though.
doesn't matter to you, but it does matter to other men. That's the
Dude,
first thing. And the
dude,
second thing is this: like I said, as you put on your tutus and your high heels again, there's guys out there in the same situation where the women get the women cheat and they come back and they cheat again because you just think that the only people that cheat are men.
see,
No.
no, no, this speaks to your like lack of knowledge of modern day hip hop.
Oh Lord.
Um,
The
a
mama
l-
rap.
no, yeah, I'm speaking about her specifically. If you want to broaden it out and talk about a woman's
Okay.
past, that's one thing. But in
Hold up.
her
I'm wrong.
case,
I'm wrong.
yeah,
I'm wrong.
yeah, yeah. Because in this case, in talking about these modern rappers, being a stripper is like saying I work at the bank these days. These little boys out here, Megan the Stallion and Cardi B and all these chicks, man, dudes are flocking all over them. It doesn't matter if they stripped or not. So that's not a thing in her case,
What
because
kind of dudes are flocking over it though? But we get into that later.
uh,
That's
the
not.
the offsets of the world, the other rappers that are quote unquote on her level.
They
So
are. So why? Okay. I'm okay. Okay. I was cutting your wisdom, and I actually have to apologize now because if
yeah.
she has other options that's still on her level, what the hell is she doing?
Well, and that is the question, and that is my ultimate point that you keep cutting my wisdom on, is
I was,
that all of these women have options, but they've been convinced that because the ratio of men to women is 7-1 and
no,
all of
man.
this, and there are no
We,
good men, all the men are in prison and stuff like that. They believe that,
Mike, Mike, real talk. It's
dude,
the D.
why you keep cutting me off? Let me finish my point first.
Because it's the D. It's the D. It's the D.
Anyway, like I was saying, they believe that that's the case and they can't do anything else. They can't get any better, or they can't get anyone else. And so this little piece of man that does these things is better than having no man.
But wait a minute, you sit there and just said, even in the Cardi B aspect, she has all these other rapper dudes all out there, so she knows she can get other men. So we can't, she knows
Well,
she can get other men.
okay, okay. She is not a rapper. She is a superstar. She is the biggest female rapper, period, and one of the top, I would say, 3 or 4 rappers, period. The Migos, I can't believe I'm having this conversation about 20-year-old rappers. Um, the Migos
Exactly. Don't come in.
are the biggest rap group, period. And I would venture to say probably only second to Drake in terms of popularity. So it's like, yeah, there are other rappers, all the Lils and all the Youngs and all of the YMBs and all that stuff. But when you talk about on that level, we're talking about the top of the food chain, um, and the top of the food chain. And so they're together. That's their thing. And for her to, and it's not just her, it's what women do. It's like for her to be like, yo, this man keeps cheating on me, but shit, well, that's what men do. Because that's the other thing. There's one um fallacy where that there are no men out here. And then the second thing is that
That's what
all
men do. All
all
men
men cheat.
cheat.
That's what they
Yeah.
do. So if that's what they're gonna do, why should I break up and get with the next dude who's going to do the same thing? And it's like,
I actually agree with you on those 2 points.
yeah, yeah. It's like they say the devil, the devil's greatest lie,
Was telling the
his
truth?
greatest no, his greatest accomplishment was convincing people that he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And the greatest accomplishment of men is convincing women that all men cheat. And so, if you believe that all men cheat, then it makes it almost acceptable that a man is going to do what a man does.
I'm just totally disagree with you because, like I said,
What are you disagreeing with me on, first of all?
I mean, men did not convince women that all men cheat, but that's just my point of view because I'm coming from the simps of the world who get their heart broken by chasing these women who always want the bad boys for the most part because they misinterpret what they want, that authority and they want that checking, as we like to say. And they usually come from the bad boys because they really don't give a flying fuck about your feelings versus the nice guys slash simps who want to give you everything and you think are soft. Well, women think they're soft. So, I want to ask you a question.
Oh boy.
Um, since you are in the hip hop culture today, uh, and as you stated so blatantly, I'm the old man.
You are the old
Uh,
man.
Being in your early 20s, maybe
Yes.
mid 20s,
Yep.
should you even consider having at the level that these people are at, serious relationships at all? Should you even consider it?
Reggie, you know I'm a different dude.
I know that's why I asked you the question.
Yes, I did.
No. I'm talking about as it stands right now. I didn't talk about our generation. Our generation is different, but as it stands right now, these 20-year-olds right now, and they're making that kind of money from 18 to 25. Should you even consider trying to be exclusive in an exclusive relationship?
Well, that's a different question. You asked what I would do, but you didn't mention that I would have millions of dollars or access to
Oh
millions
no,
of
no.
dollars or
Well,
millions of
okay,
fans.
hold up.
I
Maybe,
thought you were
maybe.
talking about Michael that got out of high
Oh, no,
school,
no, 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 no,
college. Yeah.
no. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about as no. As you see the world because you said I'm an old man.
Well,
These 20-year-olds right now with this kind of money, should they even be entertaining exclusive relationships up until a point?
of course not. And this is not even if I was 25 or now, and I had like millions of dollars, and not even millions of dollars. Take the money out of it. If I had a bunch of women that thought I had millions of dollars and wanted to get with me on what they thought I might have, because a lot of these rappers aren't as rich as they make out to be,
Not
but
even.
they can make women think that they do. And yeah, well, when I was 25 or now that I'm 50, shoot, the whole idea of getting married when you have that many options is ridiculous. Now, the question is to
Mhm.
me, what would these dudes be telling these women that would make them believe that they're going to be faithful? And why in the hell would somebody in the biggest hip hop group, because he was that dude when they got married, what in the hell would make him propose to her?
Now, the first question, I'm not going to touch because I like to defend the men. The second question, I'm with you on this one. What the hell were you thinking about?
Yeah.
Because if you cheated, not if you cheated twice, you were definitely not ready.
Yeah. I think guys, it's almost like they see women, those guys see women as prizes. So it's like she's that chick that everybody wants, so I can get her and I can prove
Okay,
that I can get her.
I get that, but you don't have to put a ring on it.
That is true, but that's the whole thing. I don't know if it's the fact that they were demanding it, the fact that you just caught her right. Because, and see, this is why I give people the benefit of the doubt, and you always crap on it and stuff like that. I
I'm
just don't
crapping on it.
believe that people
Mhm.
think that far in advance. I think when somebody, forget the money, forget the fame and all that stuff, if any 20-year-old human being looks at the possibility of living to be 75 years old and they get married and think that they're going to spend 50 successful years with somebody starting at 25 in this era, it's ridiculous on any level. If you meet somebody and you get married at 25, there's no way in hell your chances of surviving 50 years until you die has to be in the single digits.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with you. Now, when we grew up, it was probably double digits, low double digits, but now there's no way in hell.
Yeah. And this is the thing I keep teasing about this podcast that we're going to do about tradition versus modern relationships, but that's part of it. It's like people want to point back to, well, my grandmama and granddaddy. That's because they ain't had no fucking choice.
They had no option.
They were running from racists and
The-
job shit and all kind of stuff going on that forced them to be together. Shoot, I promise you, if they were living in these times, they wouldn't have been together for 50 years.
there's too bit. There's too. I mean, like I said, there's I joke a lot, but there's too much temptation, and there's a lot of weak fortitude out there for a lot of people to be that committed to someone for 50 years.
Yeah.
And because Michael has this saying where you only cheat according to your options.
Yeah. Not my saying, but I did quote it.
Yeah. So there are people out there that it doesn't matter what the options are, they would not cheat. There are people out there, but as our standards and morality has gone down over the decades, that number is boy, it's shrinking. It's shrinking fast, particularly with this whole aspect of the fact that it's your life. You need to get your own and understand all this and independent and all this other BS that we got out there, not necessarily sacrificing for the bigger group. Yeah, happiness and all that bullshit. Yeah,
And, and then
sometimes the grass does look green on the other side.
and then on top of it, when talking about getting married at that young age, man, I am 50. I look at my 25-year-old self, and I am a completely different person in almost every aspect of who I am. And to think that if I'm married and I've changed to the extent that I've changed, that I'm just automatically going to assume, hope, pray, will it to be, whatever it is, that this person is going to change in the same ways or in compatible ways that I have that's going to keep us together for 50 years. Shoot, it's like branches growing from a tree. They grow in different directions sometimes. You can say it still say you part of the same tree, but shoot, y'all not connected except for the fact that you all took a vow way back in the day before you even know the person that you were. You,
Dr. Cress Weston said something concerning the status of the black family, and she pretty much said, to sum it up, that, and this goes to everybody, even our other ethnicity brothers and sisters who are listening. Don't think about getting married until you're at least 30. And I understand the biological clock that booms with women, but as Michael sit there and clearly said, you may not have the firmest grip on who you really are, but you need to have a better grip than you have when you're in your 20s. Because trust me, you do change. And let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. You don't change. You really don't change. But when you're 20s, you're not aware of who you really are until you get a little bit more experience under your belt. Then you start to coalesce who you really are, And that is going to be completely different than who you are in your 20s.
Yeah. I don't know. I look at myself then and now, for example, and when I was 25, I was a lot more argumentative than I am now. Um, so I don't know if we can refer to that as change,
How argumentative were
evolution.
you before that, though?
Uh,
Before, like when you're a kid, were
man,
you argumentative?
yeah, yeah. I had strong opinions and always thought my opinions were right.
You
And
still have strong opinions and think your opinions are right.
yeah, but I think the difference is, man.
Yeah, you know what? They shut the hell up now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially when it comes to relationships, and I look back at arguments that I had in those relationships, and how far those arguments went with the yelling and the screaming and throwing stuff, not throwing stuff at people, but it's like, shoot,
But
I remember I pulled over on 85, I-85 once and kicked the chick out of my car, and
you
it's
did
just
that
like
too.
it's like stuff like that.
You did that too.
Yeah, that must have been a thing. Yeah.
But my thing is this: but you didn't really change. You just learned who you really were, and you adapted it to not be so, for lack of a better word, destructive. But that's still who you are because you're still argumentative. You were better able to handle who you are. In your 20s, you don't know how to balance that power, so to speak, because
You know,
you just, for the most part, you just got out the house, and then when you're in college, you buck wilding, but you ain't got no money.
yeah.
So then all of a sudden, you get college, get out of college, you make a little bit of money. So you have independence and you have a little bit of money. And once you get a little bit of money where you're not struggling eating Roman noodles every day, you start to really come into who you really are. But as you sit there and said, that doesn't really come until you like 20, late 20s, early 30s.
I, Let me just say two things. One, on the side note, I have to be the only college person that never ate ramen noodles. That's the one thing.
He's a freaking fascist.
I know, right? That's the first thing. They were always around. I just never ate them for whatever reason. The second thing is that it's funny that we talk about change. And it's interesting when you mention the word change, and a lot of it is semantics, but it seems like people in general, when I talk to people in dating and stuff like that, it seems like change is one of those words. There are a couple words that are just like seen as like gauche, like just bad words to say. One is that you're lonely, and two is that you've changed. It's in the same description that you gave about you didn't change, you kind of like just grew into yourself and things like that. It's more what I hear. It's like, but I guess you feel like people don't change. I kind of believe that people do,
No, no, I'm
but
not saying, no, no, I'm not. I'm going back to one of our podcasts. You know, your core personality is shaped by the time you're 8 years old. Now, between 8 and 28, you get all these other influences, family, society, stuff like that, where you become other people and you stray away from that core. Once, and hopefully, I say hopefully because not most people still don't get it. Hopefully, you start to become aware of who you really were when you were 7, 8 years old, that core person who were really not, it all depends because sometimes you do get that influence a lot earlier. Um, your core personality, that core essence of who you are does not change ever. It's your responsibility to understand and to be aware of who that person is and not allow society or parents to change that.
I guess it all depends on like how deep you want to take it. Like, for example, if like you can say like, okay, a dude that used to beat women back in the day, he
Okay.
grew from that and went to prison, and all of a sudden he learned because he didn't want to go back to prison to stop beating women. And you can say, well, he always had that anger that manifested itself into his beating women, combined with his insecurities that led to him beating women.
But that's not a personality. That's not a personality trait of who he is. He's just had external things that foster that anger to beat women.
Right. That's my whole thing. That's what I was saying. Like, okay, you could say in him, in his core, he had that anger was there and it just manifested itself in that way.
Well, that no, the anger. I mean, if we're gonna do the personality core may be the aspect that he's actually a tenderhearted person and he's trying to protect it, which causes anger because he didn't feel protected. Therefore, he did feel protected. He also felt powerless. Therefore, he started to beat on low people who are weaker than him,
See,
more vulnerable than him.
and see that speaks to the difference between you and me, which is we're always speaking about, because I don't look that deeply. When I look at change, I look at what a person shows then and what a person shows at point A and what a person shows at point B. So if a person grew up and he was beating women, and then and not all of a sudden, but as you saw him 20 years later and he didn't beat a woman anymore, or a person that used to be a drop dead alcoholic and all of a sudden he stopped drinking. I see those things as changes, whereas you want to get deeper and say, well, at its core. And see, when I look at relationships and things like that, all I care about is the behavior, really. like what I see versus what I don't see. And so I don't really see the point in distinguishing the difference. To me, it's changed because I used to see it and I don't see it.
Going back to that podcast with the whole Virgos and literal, you just proved my point. Ding.
Well,
You literal MF.
right. Because ultimately, what I want to know is selfishly, how is this going to affect me?
Well, actually, that's what we both agree on. I do deeper dives, deep as the mind of Minota, as they like to say. But at the same time, it bottom lines to the fact that how is this going to affect me? And if it's going to affect me negatively, I'm going to handle it.
Yeah, yeah. So when I look at a person having changed, that's how I look at it, as this behavior was going to affect me at one point. Now it's not going to affect me. So something has changed. Now, what that is, I don't care as long as it doesn't affect me anymore. Now, transitioning from that, and also since we were on the marriage, a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about marriages working or not working. I don't want to say that I necessarily believe what I'm about to say, but I think
What the fuck?
there is a case to be made, and I am going to be the one to make the case when we record this episode of the podcast. If people should be married in the first place, if people
you,
were meant to be married.
you know what? You miss your calling. You should be a great defense attorney.
Well, that's the thing. When you look at all of these failures in relationships and marriages, it's amazing to me that more people don't do serious dives as to why they fail, if for no other reason to find a better way to make them work. And if I see failing buildings crumbling all around me, I'm going to be like, what's the infrastructure made of? What are they building the building with? Things like that. And so I think it's fair to have a conversation as to whether these things were meant to work.
Oh
Um,
no, I'm not disagreeing with you. My thing is we still should be a defense attorney. And secondly, we definitely gonna need a woman on this one because I totally agree with you,
yeah, yeah.
which is one of those rarities. I totally agree with you.
And it's funny on that note, talking about buildings crumbling, Kanye and
Kanye.
Kim Kardashian are, well, she's filed. So they
Kim Gay's
are,
done.
well, yeah, they're done. And the thing that's interesting to me is that weeks and months leading up to their being done, there were all these rumors about how she was flying out to South Dakota, Wyoming, or wherever the hell he was at to try to make a final plea to him and all of this stuff. And it's like the way it's been described is she's really been the only one who's been trying to make this thing work, as opposed to him, who's just been like, yeah, I'm running for president.
Well, like I said, the media, and you were part of the media. Y'all know how y'all let the shade shit. Because
Oh, boy.
I've heard some stuff on the other side where it was like, oh, and they were bashing her about the fact that, oh, she's not being supportive and about her man, and he's going through mental crisis and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, which is the truth? And of course, we would never know the truth. Only thing we know is what's been presented in front of us. And Kanye's been off the railroad tracks for a while. And she was there. Now we don't know what went on behind closed doors, but she was there. So eh,
Well, here's what I want to know, and I don't like doing topical things, but this is interesting because we're talking about marriage and buildings crumbling. And so I just wonder, considering he's bipolar, he's taking medication, I'm wondering if
supposed to be taking.
supposed to be, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because there's a lot of evidence that he's not doing it. It
not
doesn't
taking
look like he
exactly,
wants to. And he's even admitted to not
exactly.
necessarily taking it as much as he should because it make puts him in a fog or
Yeah,
stifles his creativity and all that stuff.
which
And
I get.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't think that's BS. I was about to call it BS, but I don't think that is, especially
No,
for a creative person.
exactly. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get that. But I wonder, like, at what point she realized that he was suffering with that. And I wonder if she married him knowing that he was suffering with that.
My, I'm going to speculate because that's what I do sometimes.
Mm,
Following Kim's relationship and the stuff that went down and they were, how they first started and stuff like that. And this is going to be a bullet in your gun about chemistry. They had and still have crazy chemistry. They have crazy chemistry, but just because you have crazy chemistry doesn't necessarily mean you should be together. And I believe, as I speculate, that she thought that the chemistry aspect would take them through versus the compatibility aspect of it, which makes them believe, which is turning out that they're not very compatible because he has this issue with him, medical issue with him, and she wasn't built necessarily to be as supportive, probably. Like I said, these are all speculations
yeah,
to
yeah,
deal with that medical issue long term.
yeah.
And there's nothing against either one of them. I'm not saying there's nothing, I'm not putting blame on either one of them this. But this is where sometimes that chemistry goes wrong. You can have chemistry with the wrong person. Just because you have chemistry doesn't mean that's the right person.
Mm,
Going back to what Michael said about sometimes you need to do a deeper dive into making sure that that foundation is solid.
mm,
Chemistry is just one part of that brick of that foundation.
mm. You said it was a bullet in my gun. I was hoping it would be a bigger bullet because I was hoping that you were finally going to admit that chemistry is bullshit.
Of course not.
But wouldn't go there. But I will say part of the reason I asked that question is because it's like she if she knew that that was something that he was suffering from, or however you want to describe it, and she still took that role on to be his wife, I wonder if she didn't understand the magnitude of it.
Oh, I can tell you that she didn't. Like most women, want to have kids and don't understand the magnitude of what that is. And trust me, we can line that one up. And that not disparaging women, mothers, we're not. But let's be realistic. How many women actually understood how hard it was to actually be a mother? They want kids. They want kids. But how hard did you really understand what it meant to be a mother? I'm not saying that you don't love your kids. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. So don't write in the comment section that I'm saying that women don't love their kids and you come trying to burn down my house because I will shoot your ass. But let's be real here. You wanted kids, which is cool, but did you actually take a deep down look of how hard it was to raise someone from 0 to 18 to be a functional human being? Did you understand that from the get go and say, okay, I'm gonna do it anyway? Or did you just want kids because you thought that's what you're supposed to do? I think that's an honest question.
It's interesting to me that you say all of that not to disparage women or mothers, yet and still you went on this rant after you said that disparaging women and mothers. Um, I the point I was making was that my point was wasn't gender specific because I think of people that jump into relationships, and it's the point about marriages failing in the first place because they do so because they act on emotion more so than realism. And going back to the 20-year-olds, realistically thinking that I can spend the next 50 years with this person. They're older, so they might not make it 50 years. But I don't think that's something that's speaks specifically to gender. And I will not say that she looked past this dude being bipolar because she wanted children.
No, no, I'm not saying that. How the hell did you make that connection? I didn't make that connection.
I think if you go back and listen to what you said, I think that's the connection that everyone
No,
will
I made
make.
no. I made the connection. Simple fact that people sometimes, I didn't say that she jumped in here just because she wanted children. I
So,
said that
so how did we go from my asking that question, I wonder if she knew, to your talking about women so desperate to have children so they don't, so
I
they
did
won't
not say
abort?
women were so stop. I did not say. I said sometimes, just like you sit there and said, people make decisions not understanding the long term effects of those decisions they made because they didn't think it through. And
Women,
I used an
not people,
example.
women.
Okay, women. Okay, I said women.
Mhm.
But you know, you said people. I
Yeah,
said women.
I said
I,
people.
I
That's
said
what I'm
I
saying.
said
You took
no,
it to
no.
women
I
and
said women,
mothers.
and I gave a specific example of that case. I did not sit there and say, well, yeah, you women, you make dumbass decisions because you're desperate for children. I didn't say that. I did not say that.
I would be more than happy to send you this after we finish recording so you can watch it yourself and see
Okay,
exactly
fine.
what you said.
Okay.
Because you took that from my asking a question about, I wonder if she knew, to you saying, well, no, because like when women are desperate for kids.
I didn't say desperate for kids. I said when women want
Okay.
to have kids.
Okay, you're parsing. Just because I don't have the quote exactly right does not mean that what you said was wrong. You're like, I didn't
But I
say
said
desperate, I said eager to have. It's the
I said
same.
want to have. I'm not going to back off that. Yeah, when women want to have children, they don't sometimes understand the hard work it takes to raise that kid up until 18. I'm not going to back down from that. Just like you sat there and said, she may not have gotten to, she may have loved Kanye, but not understand the responsibility it takes to be with him long term because of his condition. Those are equivalents. She did not understand the exact effort it takes to maintain that solid relationship, period. Just like women sometimes do not understand the effort that it takes to raise functional, successful children. They just know, oh, I want to have children because I want to have children.
Let me just say I love women. And I'll always stand up for you ladies.
Yes, trust me. Go get your tutu and your red pumps right now. I love
I
women too, but I ain't cutting you no break.
I have your back,
Hey,
ladies.
trust me, we know that already.
Oh,
All the men know that.
my point is that people are short-sighted oftentimes when making decisions about who they will be with, like whereas he wants to broaden it out and say it's like women and children, I will say it's like Offset
Okay,
asking
I say
Cardi B to
okay.
marry her.
Hold up, I can say men too because men marry women.
Oh,
Okay, fine.
don't
No,
try to
no, no,
backtrack
no, no,
now
no,
with
no. I'm
all
backtracking.
exclusives and stuff like
You
that.
want
You
to be,
women hater.
you want to be Fox News,
Well,
fair and equal. Okay, men sometimes need to worry about who the hell they get engaged to.
you
So
two,
we need to think long term about who the hell we want to spend the rest of our lives with and give our last name to.
and no,
And
he said,
sometimes we don't do that.
that after I came back to the Offset example that I was
Oh
referring
no,
to.
no, no, no. You say I'm He-Man woman hater. I
You
take that
oh
role.
oh yeah, you are.
I take that role.
Just like Kim, I wonder if she knew that boy had bipolar disease, and is
How
it
could she not know? It's not like all of a sudden he just developed it when he got married.
a disease? Well, you're not born bipolar.
I think you
I
are.
I
I
know
don't
you.
know.
I know you're not born schizophrenic.
No, you're not. But bipolar, I think, because bipolar is a hormonal thing. I think you are, but I don't
Um,
know. I don't know
yeah. Neither one of us can say definitively whether that's true or not.
exactly. We have to
But
research that.
yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she knew it. She might have just thought that he was just creative. He's an
He's
artist.
great. Yeah. Okay. On that one, I get you.
Yeah. So
He's creative, not crazy, because he had
so
money.
so much like Offset, I wonder when he asked Cardi B to marry him, if, and we have 5 minutes left, if he
Damn, that
thought,
went quick.
yeah, I wonder if he honestly thought, I am going to be with this one woman for the rest of my life. or if he went into it thinking, well, I still have a little bit in me, so I'm gonna get this off. And so I wonder, and that's the same way I wonder with Kim and Kanye. If she was like, this dude, I wonder if, first of all, I wonder if this dude has this. Did he tell her he has this? And if she thought, oh, I can deal with this, or if she was thinking, this is gonna be some crazy shit, but I can handle it. So, so it's just the thinking of both people when they enter into these relationships that didn't wind up going well for them, even
This
though I
is
guess it
weird.
even though I guess it went pretty well for Offset because he keeps cheating and she keeps taking him
Like I
back. So
said,
I
this
guess
is
it's going
weird
well.
because this is the first time I can't see the connection. I kind of sort of, but it's fuzzy. With the offset, well, my thing is this because, and this is the time that the women would actually rally around me. I don't understand that at all. I
Okay.
don't understand. I don't understand that one at all because my thing is this. Um, I don't see cheating as black and white because there's a whole bunch of factors to go into why people cheat. However, comma, I will go black and white on the second aspect of this, where if you beg to come back and you cheat again, you are just a foul individual.
Okay. Regardless, and we have 3 minutes, regardless of the reasoning for cheating, if you do something knowing that it will hurt the person that you're with, I think that's the point that I'm more focused on, regardless of what the reasoning
And
is.
I'm about to
He
cut.
did.
I'm about
He,
no. I'm about to shut you down right there
what?
because
Why you keep cutting me off?
because you full of shit.
No,
Because
you
this
just
you
talk. Let
always
me finish
you
my
no you
thought at least. It's
no
like,
because you always tell me about people always vote quote unquote on their self interest. So that's why people cheat.
no,
Self interest.
okay, but he knew that that would hurt his wife by cheating.
and and
Kim
people vote
Kardashian.
Republicans because
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm saying that he took on a wife when he knew that he didn't know. He took on a wife when he wasn't prepared to be a husband. Kim Kardashian took on a husband when she was not prepared for what was coming with being a wife to that dude. And so that's the thing. Both of them entered into situations that they shouldn't have been in for different reasons. But the common denominator is they shouldn't have been in those situations for reasons. His
and
being
see
young, her and his being bipolar.
and see that's the thing about you being sort of Virgo because you're so black and white. Because I see that totally different. I see that totally differently.
And
It's like all of a
in a minute
sudden you
and a
get
half.
married to someone, and all of a sudden, 15 years later, they become a paraplegic. And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. I
But
mean, going to the Kanye thing. Now, the cheating thing, that's a totally different issue to me.
he didn't
That's a
become
totally different issue.
paraplegic 15 years after they got married. He was bipolar when they got married.
We don't know that
No,
because you
the
said
only thing we
we
don't know is if he was taking his medication or not.
I know, but we don't know. Like I said, as we still do the research, we don't know if bipolar is a genetic thing or it comes in age. So we don't know that. So we have to shelf that one. As for the cheating, let's go to the cheating thing. How long we have?
We have like a minute.
Okay, I'm going to say this at the after hour, so you have to come to the after show.
Yeah, because it's like sit the Kim Kanye thing to the side because his behavior was erratic enough that if he wasn't bipolar, there was something there that's not sustainable for 50 years. Going to the cheating thing, it's almost, and yeah, this will have to go to the after hours because we got 30 seconds. It's almost like you're justifying or like justifying certain ways, certain reasons for cheating that makes it excusable in a sense. And I'm saying, regardless of why he cheated, whatever she might have done, if you're going to get into a marriage and you cheat that soon, you shouldn't have been married in the first place.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm sitting there saying the point blank that hell, he may not have been aware that he was that person. Yeah, he's freaking 20 years old, which is the reason goes back to the beginning of the tape. You shouldn't even think about getting married until you're at least in your 30s and having awareness of who that core person is.
Dating while adulting. Say goodbye, Reginald.
Goodbye, Reginald. Oh wow, you called me Reginald. Oh shit, this is gonna
I
be
know,
it's
right?
gonna, it's gonna be hot in the
It's
after.
like
Oh, you gotta
it's like
come to
your mother,
that.
God rest her soul. Shoot.
Exactly, it's gonna be hot in the after show tonight.
Goodbye. Okay, we're clear.
All right.
Explain this cheating shit to me. Or maybe you did. You're saying that he was young enough that he honestly thought that he could be faithful for the rest of his life.
No, he's a fucking moron because he's 20 years old and got a whole bunch of money. But my thing is this. I don't understand. I don't know why he decided he wanted to. Okay, let me hold up. Let me get the story straight. Because more than likely, when they how long were they together before they got married?
Not long. I don't even think it was a year.
Okay, that's the first mistake right there. Shit. Hell. Uh so both of them are fucking stupid for getting married that soon.
Well, yeah, it's stupid regardless.
And second of all, even within that year, hell, I don't even know where to go from that because that was just fucking stupid. Being 20 and getting married that soon in this age, and he's a quote unquote star. Okay. Um
Okay, hold up. No, they were married for 3 years. Okay.
how long did they date?
That's what I'm trying to find out. That's what I
Okay.
typed in, and it just gave
Okay.
me how long they were married. Um,
Okay, what age were they married at? Do they tell?
it was in 2017 is when they first got discovered as dating. Um, but while I'm looking up that, and that's the whole thing. Remember, my question was with both of them, I wonder if he thought, talk about him not knowing himself, I wonder if he thought that he would be faithful, that he could be faithful for 50 years. And I wonder if she thought that she could deal with him being bipolar. It started with me asking the questions.
No, I get I get the thread you were trying to get at, but it went off track because someone cheating is more so this is my line of thinking with the whole cheating thing. Because he cheated twice. Because he cheated twice. And like I say, he's a young cat, so you got to throw that shit in it too. I'm not one of those proponents for the fact that, okay, we brought this up with the Eva Longoria thing and Tony Parker cheated on her and she filed divorce and blah, blah, blah. Because there's always two sides to the cheating. Her side, well, three sides. His side, her side, and the truth. And somewhere it lied. The truth lies in the middle of both sides.
If he admitted that he cheated, there are no three sides. He
No,
cheated.
why? No, okay, he cheated, but like you said before, why? Why
And
did he cheat?
and that's what I was saying at the end of the episode. It's like the reason doesn't matter. It's like you're trying to justify
No,
his
the
reasoning for
reason
cheating. It doesn't matter why he cheated.
it does matter why he cheated. It to me, it does matter. It does matter why you do the things that you do. It matters, and you need to understand why you do the things you do. Because if you want to change that destructive behavior, you're not going to change it if you don't know why you're doing it.
But to say that it matters like presents an opportunity to justify the action. Here's the thing that I feel. It's like in this case, speaking about this case, if they there is no secret about how women feel about cheating, especially black women, how they feel about cheating. And for you to go into a marriage knowing how she feels about cheating and you cheat, it's wrong regardless of what the reasoning is. He could have stepped to her, and you talk about what the reason is. He could have stepped to her and said, if she was doing something that was insufficient, he could have been like, yo, we need to have this conversation or whatever. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna leave you. Not if this doesn't work, I'm gonna go cheat, knowing how she
Yeah,
feels about
but
that.
what if he did have that conversation? Because like I said, we don't know what goes on in between those dialogues. What if he did say it and she still didn't do it? And instead of because like I said, people who are not married have this notion that, oh, I can just leave you as if you're in a relationship. No, that shit is a lot more complicated than just, oh, okay, you're not doing what I want you to do or what I need, I can just leave you. That
What's
shit
the
is a lot more complicated.
what's the complication between the two of them in leaving, in his leaving?
No, I'm talking about in general, in between Tony Parker and Eva Longoria.
It wasn't complicated for them. She
Well,
she
because
broke him.
I know they because they both rich. We're not talking about rich
Yeah,
people.
that's what I'm talking about. I thought we were talking about Cardi B and Offset. We're not talking about them anymore.
Okay, well, no, okay, that's the whole thing. Well, no, those two,
See,
because
see,
they should, no, hold up, because they should have never gotten married. So
see,
I had to agree with you on that one.
yeah,
I had to
because
agree with
this,
you. They should have never gotten married. So therefore, there's no, and that's as I keep trying to emphasize with that particular one, he cheated twice. So I totally agree with you on that one.
see, you're
I totally
trying.
agree. I totally agree with you on that one. The
No,
offset one, I totally agree.
I get that. You're trying to get into the whole thing about why people cheat, which is the conversation we're going to have. You're trying to branch off into that conversation, and that's a different conversation for me. The
Okay,
conversation that I'm having right now, it goes back to simply when he asked that woman to marry her at 20 years old,
he was wrong.
did he know? What was his thinking?
I
When she married Kanye, what was her thinking? That's more what I'm thinking about.
I
And
will put
you're
it this
like
way.
talking about why he cheated. And I'm like, that's not even what I'm talking about.
Hold up, I can say this. I can say this because the way you keep comparing it, it's cheating versus cheating and his mindset of thinking that he could be with this woman versus Kanye, well, Kim thinking that he could be with her. And that's the thing. What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
See,
And hold on. My
mhm.
thing is this with Kim, if I was to speculate, she actually thought she could handle Kanye's erratic behavior because she actually believed she loved Kanye. So I can see because from what we saw in the public, she was trying to hold Kanye down from what we saw in the public.
Okay.
Okay, so on that one, I get. On the other situation, I have nothing for you. I don't understand what he would probably think to make think that he can want to get married to her, knowing good way he still had that in him. I don't know.
Right.
I
And
don't know.
me myself, I just point to both of them seem to be the result of flawed thinking. Um,
See, and that's okay, and that's where we disagree because I don't think Kim had flawed thinking.
well, if first of all, if you marry somebody who's bipolar and you have to expect that that is not a straight line marriage, and there are things that you're going to have to do to adapt to that person. Basically, you're going to have to make sacrifices that don't necessarily comply with the normal parameters of a marriage. And then when you get into it, you say, I can't handle that. And see, I see it the same way as Offset saying, I can marry this woman and live with her forever and turn away all of this pussy that's in front of my face for the rest of my life. They're both unrealistic. It's like, despite what they both thought they might have had the best intentions, they both thought they could handle these situations, but neither one of them could.
Okay,
And
so
having the best of intentions aren't enough, obviously, in these two cases.
going to what you said, that also has to do with the awareness of who you really are and what you really deal with. And I will give a little bit more sympathy to Kim because she did hold Kanye down. Like I said, we don't know the insides of all this stuff. And there's some mistakes, if I was to say that's our public, that they did make, that she did make, and she really wanted a successful marriage with Kanye, if she did know that Kanye was bipolar in that aspect. And understanding you can't put that type of unnecessary pressure by having reality shows and the toxicity that your family is giving on that type of personality. So in that aspect, it still boils down to one point: the awareness of who you are and understanding. Yes, I may want this, but long term, it's not going to fit into my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because this is who I am, and this is where I want to go. And going back to what you said before about the foundation crumbling, I think that's the biggest reason why marriages do fail because the awareness of who they are, well, the awareness of who people are, conflicts with what they really want, and something that you said earlier about the fact that this fear of loneliness, it outweighs the fact that, well, I know we're not necessarily compatible for 50 years, but I think I can make it work. Even though deep down there's gonna be trouble ahead.
Yeah. And I don't mean to like criticize either one of them. I think they obviously both made mistakes, but with his being young and being naive, with her not understanding mental illness and being naive. I think they both came from places of naivety, and it worked against them. And so, as such, that's how I link them together. The thing about it is, and that's why I reference this episode that we need to have about are people meant to be married? I think that their experiences are reflective of people who get married in general. It's kind of like what you always say about the goal is to be married and not how the marriage works. I
Yeah.
don't think people honestly think I can see this person and deal with this person every day for 50 years.
And actually, that's the reason why you didn't see the connection of why I sat there and brought women into having babies thing. That was the connection because women want babies. They want babies,
Yeah.
but they don't necessarily want to be parents because they don't understand the hard work it actually takes to be a parent. Not saying that they don't love their kids. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, I think they really underestimate the work and the effort and the sacrifice it takes to be that parent.
I
They
don't
just want the babies.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just think that in the context in which you brought it up, it came across as women bashing
I
when
don't give a
like
fuck. It is. They're gonna think it is. I don't care.
okay.
I mean, I
And
wasn't trying to. I really wasn't trying to woman bash, but you take it as such. Hey, that's you.
well, it is women bashing
No, it's
when it's
not.
like
Because men don't. How many men really want kids?
here's the thing that's consistent about you, Reginald, during the course of this podcast. And it's entertaining to me because one, I'm not a woman, and one, because I'm entertained. But you have this thing where there is a conversation about what men and women do, and it turns into you turning it into what women do.
Yeah,
And then every now and then, after I say something, you'll be like, well, yeah, maybe men do it too, but I don't date men. And then you'll go back to hammering women.
true,
It's not fair to just say because I don't date men that they're not to be held accountable for the shit that they do.
true.
And that's my whole point. If it's true, then why don't you hold them accountable too?
Because there's too much activities out there where, particularly because of black men, we ain't shit. So fuck all that.
You shit.
Right?
I'm shit.
Exactly. I'm just saying. I'm defending the other guys who are shit who
Well,
getting bashed. So
well,
hey,
and I think the people that aren't
because
shit, part of the reason they aren't shit is because we don't hold them. We don't. It's kind of like the police that aren't shit, and we always talk about the good police need to call the bad police out, and it's like the same thing with this. These trifling brothers need to be called out in the same way. It's like,
but
yeah.
they're not. But hold up now, hold up, brother. Because hold up, brother. Because you know good and well, how many really trifling brothers do we have that we don't call out in
You
our circle? This is one time I'm actually gonna close ranks because even with the one trifling brother we did have, we called his ass out religiously.
and this is the other thing that we talk about. This is the other thing that we talk about. And when Nicole was here and we were talking about you always make reference to your circle, and there's a whole world outside of your circle.
Now, at the same time, my thing is, yes, men need to call out men. I really do think a lot of men outside my circle call out the trifling men.
But
My thing is this, because this is where me and you really disagree on. Women don't call out their girls.
well,
And we need to have a woman on here to really actually, you think they do. I've heard other women who say they
no,
don't.
I'm not saying that they do or don't. Here's my thing though. Like it's like you feel like you have to like stand up for dudes and calling out women because women don't do it and vice versa and all that stuff. I'm not thinking about that stuff. When I'm talking to you, I'm not thinking about, well, I need to say this shit about women because nobody else is saying it. If it's some shit that's foul about women, I'm going to say it's foul about women. But I'm not going to do that at the expense of giving men a pass on the shit that they do and just say, well, it's some chick out there that's going to call men out. So I'm not going to do it. And I think that's part of the reason that I can't really get behind a lot of these things. It's like watching Fox News or MSNBC.
I'm being Fox News right now. I ain't gonna
Well,
lie.
and that's my whole point. I don't watch either one of those networks because unless I'm going to get something from both sides, I don't need to listen to that mess
And like I
because it's
said,
the same
I'm
shit.
different right now because my thing is, in my point of view, in my sphere where I'm right now, we men, the decent men, because I don't good men, that's a whole different aspect. I don't believe in that shit. But decent men are not being heard, and we always getting drowned out by the sorry motherfuckers out there. And I'm standing up for those guys. So if I'm unfair, so be it. I
You
take that. I
you
take
can
that charge.
you can stand up for them without shitting on the chicks.
No, I can't because no, I can't. Not right now. No, fucking no.
I can't with you. This is one day where Reggie has officially worn me out. I just can't fuck with Reggie. I ne- I need a reprieve. But thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for listening, watching, however you consume this podcast, and
Really,
keep
thank
coming
you.
back. And remember, tell 50 friends to tell 50 friends. We get our susu going.
Yeah, we do. And thank you for real. In all honesty, thank you and God bless you.
It's all love. All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh shoot.